In the Lynette Hooker story, there are a lot of family members, and I have spoken to so many of Lynette's family, Brian and Lynette's family. Haven't spoken with Brian, haven't spoken with Brian's mom, haven't spoken with Brian's brother or his sister, but I just spoke with his stepmom. Her name is Donna Hooker. She was married to George Hooker, Brian's dad, for over 40 years. And he recently passed away, and she is heartbroken. She cared for him for years before he died while he was sick. And she said, Brian.
His stepmom is standing in her living room. What he said next stopped her cold. Actually, let that sink in for a second. I need you to understand what's about to come because it changes everything we thought we knew about this case. She tells the interviewer he said he had to have someone killed in the 1980s. In Hawaii, and nobody knows who. Nobody knows if it's real. And his entire family knows and has stayed silent. Who sits on information like that? What kind of family protects a man after he admits to something that dark? And here's where it gets worse. We're not talking about a guy in his 20s making an edgy joke at a family dinner. This is a man who, right now, is sitting in a cell accused of drowning his wife on a sailboat called Soulmate. The same man his stepmom says walked out of the ocean decades ago, claiming he'd orchestrated a murder. Let me repeat that. Brian Hooker allegedly told his father and his stepmother, standing in their doorway with his hair long and his eyes empty, that he had to arrange for someone to be killed. Then he left, didn't say who, didn't say when, didn't say why, just dropped it like a grenade and vanished. The stepmom kept asking herself, did he really do that? Did my husband's son actually do something like that? And now, with evidence that his wife Lynette was dead on the boat the whole time, not swept off a dinghy, but dead aboard when he was telling that impossible story, we're looking at a man who's apparently been running from truth his entire life.
But then I was thinking of the other things that he threatened her with, throwing her overboard, stuff like that, her leaving him and coming back, and then probably if she told him she was going to leave again because she had the plane ticket to go back to see her mom, I think it was, but
his family noticed the change first. When Brian was 17, 18 years old, he seemed normal. He was polite, respectful, the kind of kid who said, lies, ma'am. He hung around the house, played football with his step-siblings, seemed like everybody else.
17, 18 years old, he was fine. He seemed to be fine. He would go and hang out with the kids and, my two and his brother and, just be basically normal because he came over with Bruce a lot and stuff. So, I don't understand what really happened, but he seemed to have changed.
But something shifted. Late into his 18th year, early 19th, he changed. He didn't like people. He didn't like being around society. He pushed back against anybody who tried to tell him what to do. He started isolating. Then he moved out. Then he moved again. Then he was gone.
Is that the time that he moved out of your home and then moved in with his uncle?
Yeah.
So,
he wanted to go different places and stay, I guess, because we never kicked him.
He just moved on.
Yeah, he just went to live with his. He probably stayed with his brother too, and Jennifer. So it was all the whole, the circle of family that he would do that.
That's his sister, Jennifer?
Yeah, Jennifer.
Yeah. So
by the time his stepmom saw him next, he was unrecognizable. Long hair, different clothes, different energy, like a different person was standing at the door. His father looked at him and nearly lost it. Where have you been? And that's when Brian told him. He and his brother Bruce had been living on the beach in Hawaii. Just bumming around, he said. Just living off the grid like he wanted.
From Hawaii, he got to, the only reason I know what happened in Hawaii is because he came to our house unbeknownst of us. We didn't even know he was coming. We didn't know where he was at the time. And so he knocked at the door and there he was standing there. And I didn't even recognize him. I was like, what happened to him? And his father was not a happy camper. He goes, where have you been? And we were on the beach and we were just, living there. And he goes, you were living on the beach bumming around. Yeah, that's what he liked. He liked it.
But that beach wasn't safe. There were bad people there, criminal elements, people who harassed the homeless kids who tried to steal from them. And at some point in the chaos of that life, Brian allegedly got involved with the wrong people, got involved in something. And he came home and said he'd had to have someone killed.
And so now Donna Hooker is processing all of that. And something else that she said stopped me in my tracks. And that is that Brian Hooker, according to Donna, said something back in the 80s along the lines of, I had to have someone killed. Let me repeat that. Brian Hooker said to his dad and his stepmom, standing in their doorway, that he'd had problems in Hawaii when he was homeless on the beach, got into it with some...
Think about that. Not, I killed someone. Not, I was there when. He said he had to have someone killed, like an arrangement, like a job.
Yes. He said he had to have someone killed. He didn't say, I had to kill someone. No.
Like something he arranged to happen.
It was pretty sneaky. And if he had choked her before and choked her till she passed out and threw her up against something to put bruises on her back, what kind of person would do that? You know what I mean? They've been married for 25 years.
His father demanded answers. What do you mean, who? What are you talking about? But Brian wouldn't go deeper. He wouldn't say names, wouldn't say when or how, or even if it was real. He just wanted them to know it had happened, and then he left.
You what? He says, that's it. I don't want to go into it. I just wanted you to know. So
didn't stay for dinner, didn't even sit down. He was in and out, a ghost leaving a confession and disappearing back into the night. The stepmom is still processing that moment decades later. She's describing a boy she loved transform into a man she doesn't recognize. Bruce, his brother, was different, social, connected, normal in the ways Brian refused to be. Jennifer, their sister, stayed close to Brian, but something in him was broken or damaged or dark. Something changed him on that beach, and now his family is circling. They're all in contact. They're all trying to figure out what story to tell. The sister flying to the Bahamas to support him. The mother and brothers all connected. They know he's lying. They know the dengue story never happened. They know Lynette was dead on that boat. The evidence proves it. And instead of coming forward, they're silent. Here's what the stepmom can't get past. Brian watched his father die. George Hooker spent years getting sick, kidneys failing, strokes, the slow decline of an old man who needed his son. Brian didn't come.
He got very, very ill, and it was horrible. And you never, I would say you never showed up. You never offered me any help. You never, you never did anything. And I just have no respect for him at all. And I really do want him to pay for what he's done. And
not once in 4 years. His father died at the end of 2025, and his own son didn't even call to say goodbye. But he'd had time to show up with his sister Jennifer years earlier to visit.
He had his hair long again. He just looked terrible. He kept going out, outside. Then he drank about a 6-pack of beer and a half in the house. Didn't talk to his dad very much, and he was, smoking weed and everything. So it was really weird. And
wearing his defiant long hair and drinking beer in the living room, playing the victim, playing the grieving husband.
I do. I really do. I really think he killed her because he was so abusive and everything. And he was abusive to his second wife. But
playing everybody. The stepmom took care of George. She was there every single day while he was dying. She watched him wonder why his son wouldn't visit. She heard him ask Jennifer to relay messages. She saw the hurt in his face. And when George was gone, just when the stepmom finally had space to grieve, finally could rest after 3 years of caregiving, the news broke. Lynette Hooker was dead. Brian had killed her,
board that
probably.
Lynette was dead on board Soulmate and that
Oh,
everything was a lie. That it was all made up to cover up for the fact that she was dead on board.
Everything he said was a lie. And his family didn't come forward. They didn't say, we always knew he was capable of this. We always knew something was wrong. We always knew he said he had to have someone killed, and we never reported it. They stayed quiet. So now there are two mysteries nobody wants to solve. One, what really happened to someone possibly in Hawaii in the 1980s? Is there a body? Is there a family wondering what happened to their loved one because Brian Hooker arranged for them to disappear? And two, why does his entire family protect him? Why does his sister fly to the Bahamas to wait for him when they know the truth? Why won't his brother talk? Why won't his mother speak? The stepmom says she has no respect for him anymore.
I probably would say, Brian, I have no respect for you anymore. If your dad was alive, it would be the worst thing in the world for him. And you, when he passed away, you never, ever called me. And Bruce never called me. And I got one little message from Jennifer saying she was sorry.
She says she can't even look at him now. She says he's not caring, has no emotion, doesn't believe in God.
He does not believe in God. He's an atheist. And he doesn't like people. And if he could, he'd live somewhere, which I don't know, somewhere in a cabin, somewhere, maybe off grid. I don't know. He wouldn't be around people.
Doesn't want to be around people. She says if he could, he'd live somewhere far away off the grid alone. And now we know he's a killer. Tick-tock. That's what the people chasing this case keep saying. Tick-tock. Evidence is accumulating. Questions are being asked.
If you know anything about Brian Hooker in the 80s alleging to have had someone killed, did he say it to you? Have you heard that he has said it to someone else? Do you know this story in Hawaii? Were you involved at all? Do you know who the victim might be if there was one? dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com.
People in Hawaii, if there really is a victim, if there really is a body, they're paying attention now.
Say it often. Tick-tock, Brian. Tick-tock. And I will add this, if you know anything about Brian Hooker or what happened in Hawaii, if there was actually a killing like he apparently said to his parents, please reach out to us. dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com. dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com.
Here's what I need you to hold on to. A man said he had to have someone killed. His family heard it and said nothing. He apparently killed his wife and told an elaborate lie. His family protected the lie. And somewhere, somehow, the first victim, if real, has been waiting decades for justice while Brian Hooker walked free, got married, lived on sailboats, charmed new people into his orbit. What was his name? The person in Hawaii. And why won't his family answer the question?